Hey guys, welcome. Today I wanted to talk about doing tot school or preschool with your little ones, 2, 3, even some 4-year-olds. So stick around. All right, so doing school with little kids, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds even, is really easy actually. They learn so much through play. Just letting them play, honestly, is probably enough. You really don't need to do anything else. But if you really want to do more things with them, because I did with my first, when you only have one especially, it's kind of fun as the parent to do things with them. And you know, he is my brightest. So it probably does help them get a little further down a little quicker. But just know, if you don't do this stuff, don't feel bad. Your child is just fine if all they do is play all day at 2, 3, and 4. That is perfectly fine. So if you do want to do school though, here are some ideas. You can get some little books like this. And you know, I don't even know where this came from. It probably just came from like a Mardel. It's a bookstore. If you have a Mardel, check them out. They have lots of fun little like books like this. And they have stuff all the way through high school, but you definitely can find preschool type stuff. And this just has like, there's a sticker page, but it has just things like this. So they can start by taking a crayon and learning how to draw across the lines. It introduces them to letters and kind of helping them know how to form the letters. So something like this would be appropriate for little kids. And just don't worry if they take it and they do nothing but scribble all over it, that's fine. Just the fact that they're learning how to look at a paper and hold a crayon, you know, that's progress. So don't get too uptight if they don't actually follow the instructions and understand what you're trying to get them to do. Another thing is, if you probably more for 3 and 4-year-olds, if you feel like they're a little bit more ready, or some 2-year-olds. Honestly, my oldest would have been able to do this at 2, but not my others, because my 3-year-old right now still can't do this, and he's 3. So also remember that every child is just different. And this is actually a Becca's art project K4, and these art projects are super easy. So like this one, they're just supposed to cut out the penguin, and then you're supposed to take a paper plate and fold it, and you guys just glue the penguin on, and that's all you have to do. It says to add those googly eyes, which you can buy, or you could just, I've done buttons because I had buttons, and just glue buttons on there. So it has lots of just really simple, it's more so just kind of learning how to cut is really what this is encouraging. Here they cut out the hands and the kitty parts, and they glue them to a paper sack. So this is super simple. 2, 3, and 4-year-olds can do this without too much problem. One more book, and then I'm going to show you some other things, is Button Bear. And this is also a Becca, and they have one for 2-year-olds, I think, and this one is for the 3-year-olds, and then they have one for 4-year-olds. And again, it's just super simple, introducing them basically just to work pages. Like this says 2, and the camel has 2 humps, and they just trace that and then color it. And Button Bear, this simple book here, is something I've done with all of my kids, just to give them, when I only had one, my oldest, I would give him one of these papers while I cooked a dinner, and it gave him something to kind of do and be busy while I was cooking dinner. And then with my others, I gave it to them while I was doing school with my oldest to make them feel like they had something going on. So that's another actual school book if you wanted to use an actual school book. Now, you also can do puzzles. I mean, I'm sure you have puzzles at home. Most people do. And just something like this. And what can turn this into a learning experience and make it more educational is just doing it with them and being like, A says ah. I hope this stuff doesn't seem too like, well, duh, I know that. But I've had several questions about what people could do for preschool or tot school, and so this is just what we do. And just in case you haven't thought of these things, here are some, you know, things that you can do. But yeah, so just working the puzzle with them, and you know, just saying simple things like A says ah. Can you say ah? Say A. You can also sing songs. We have, here, let me grab them. All right, we have these alphabet flashcards that I actually got with my Father's World curriculum. And these are great because my kids love this, and it's basically you just sing the alphabet song to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which, I mean, you could do anything. These are just flashcards, but you know, we go apple, butterfly, cow, and you know, so on and so on. And this is how my middle ones, Willa and Wesley, have learned their alphabet. Now, I will say with what I've done with this is great because Willa can look at, you know, D, and she knows this says duh. But if you ask her the name of the letter, she doesn't necessarily always know it's D, but she does know it says duh. So it's weird because she can kind of read even though she doesn't necessarily know what letters she's reading, but she knows their sounds. So that is something that I will try and work a little bit different with. My next one is making sure he knows that it's not just but it's A. So that's probably just a flaw in my teaching, but you know, that's easy to correct. That'll come along. Willa is only a K4. She's going into kindergarten, so it's really not a big deal. But that's just something I noticed. So yeah, getting flashcards like this and just doing things like that is fun. And I'm sure you have alphabet somewhere on your baby stuff that you could use. If you didn't even want to use flashcards, I bet you have a book that's an alphabet book or anything like that. Just to kind of get them familiar with the sounds is great. A lot of kids really learn well through music. So going on to that, just simple things like these are bean bags. And then I have a whole tub of like musical instruments here. And just getting these out every now and then and turning on some music and just let them dance and sing and play along. If I'm really trying to actually be educational with it, you know, I'll turn on some classical or some like a children's CD of like Bible songs or hymns, or just instrumental, something like that. That's so it's not just like some pop song they hear on the radio, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like, especially at the classical and the hymns, I feel like they're learning something that I actually want them to learn for long term. Like I love that my older two, if they hear a classical song, they can recognize it, and they don't necessarily always know the name of it or who wrote it, but they recognize it and they go, oh hey, that's that song. So there's the being well-rounded and knowing that it's out there and it exists, I think is helpful. So, and that's something they've all done. All of them, when they were little, in the mornings, I would just turn music on and they play while they listen to music. So I think music is very educational and definitely something you could implement in a tot school or preschool. All right, now, I would have probably done this with my firstborn when he was 2, but my other kids, I would not have done this when they were 2 because it would have been too much of a choking hazard. So this definitely is just something you would need to kind of play by ear and decide if you think your child is ready for this or not. But I find things like, I call them activity tubs, but here I have a tub and it is just full of rocks. This one's actually a geode that hasn't been broken open yet, but we have a geode that we did break open. And it's just got some other random, this rock, who knows, they picked up from somewhere. This one's a petrified wood rock. You know, it's wood that's turned to rock. So just having something like this and getting it out and letting them be hands-on and look at it and just talk about it and feel the texture of it, that also can be very educational and great for a younger age group, just to get that experience. You know, that being said, I didn't bring it in here, but Play-Doh is also a great thing to let little kids do and experiment with and play with and just kind of learn. Another activity tub that we have is our shell tub. And this is just full of like seashells. And well, this is a sand dollar, and then seashells. And this is great, especially if you don't live by the ocean and you know you're not around that much. Having something like this just for them to experience and look at and feel, you know, it's a great educational tool. You could even, you know, if you really want to step it up a notch, you could read a book about the seaside, you could read a book about seashells or sea creatures, and then, you know, after you read your book, look at the seashells. Another great resource for preschool or tot school would be Pinterest. If you get on there and you're like, I want to study A this week, and you decide that A is going to be your study for the week, you could look up on there ideas to go with A, and you can find all kinds of like crafts, ways to make A. You could look up books to go with A. So yeah, I mean, there's so much you can do with that age group, but just remember, they're still little. They learn a lot just from existing and seeing what's going on around them. So don't try and like overload them with things. Don't think they should be able to read at the end of the year. I mean, if they do, great, but don't be shocked if they don't. I mean, that's not that weird. But yeah, just, you know, I think introducing them just to new experiences and just the sounds of letters is a great idea. And if you just think that they're just, you know, getting new experiences, then you're doing great. So don't worry too much about it. But and like I said, it's not necessary to do any formalized schooling at all until they're older. So definitely don't stress about it. This is just if you're wanting something to do, here are some ideas. But yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some ideas. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you all around. Thanks. Bye.